If the origin is Sat, why is it not felt? Maharishi. The salt in the lump is visible. It is invisible in the solution. Still, its existence is known by taste. Similarly, Sat, though not recognized by the intellect, can still be realized in a different way, that is, transcendentally. Devotee, how? Maharishi, just as a man blindfolded and left by robbers in a jungle inquires his way home and returns there, so also the ignorant one, blinded by ignorance, inquires of those not so blinded and seeks his own source and returns to it. Then Guru Upadesh. Devotee, if so, a jnani or an agyani dies in the same manner. Why is an agyani reborn, whereas a jnani is not? Morasi. Just as an innocent man, Satyabhi Sandh, is not affected by the test of touching red hot iron, but a thief is affected, so also the Sat Brahm Satyabhisandha, that is Agyani, enters into Sat consciously and merges, whereas the other enters unaware and is thrown out unaware also. 13th December 1935. Talk 109. Two gentlemen from Ambala, the Punjab, had been here for a few weeks. Just before taking leave of Sri Bhagwan, one of them asked how he should remove the spiritual drowsiness of his friends or of other people in general. Maharishi. Have you removed your own spiritual drowsiness? The force which is set up to remove your own drowsiness will also operate in other centers. There is the willpower with which you can act on others, but it is on a lower plane and not desirable. Take care of yourself first. Devotee. How to remove my own drowsiness? Maharishi. Whose drowsiness is it? Inquire. Turn within. Turn all your inquiries towards search for self. The force set up within you will operate on others also. 14th December 1935. Talk 110. An American lady asked Bhagwan what his experiences of Samadhi were. When suggested that she should relate her experiences and ask if they were right, she replied that Sri Bhagwan's experience ought to be correct and should be known, whereas her own were unimportant. She thus wanted to know if Sri Bhagwan felt his body hot or cold in Samadhi, if he spent the first 3.5 years of his stay at Tiruvannamalai in prayers and so on. Maharishi. Samadhi transcends mind and speech. It cannot be described. For example, the state of deep slumber cannot be described. Samadhi state can still less be explained. Devotee. But I know that I am unconscious in deep sleep. Maharishi. Consciousness and unconsciousness are only modes of the mind. Samadhi transcends the mind. Devotee. Still you can say what it is like. Maharishi. You will know only when you are in Samadhi. 16th December 1935. Talk 111. A Telugu gentleman asked about Brahma Bhavana. Maharishi. Not to think I am Brahman or all is Brahman is itself Jivan Mukti. He asked about inspired action. Maharishi. Let activities go on, they do not affect the pure self. 17th December 1935. Talk 112. Mr. P. Brunton, while reading Upadesh Manjari, came across the statement that the ego, the world, and God are all unreal. He desired to use a different word for God, or at least a qualifying adjective, that is, the creative force or personal God. Sri Bhagwan explained that God means samasti, that is all that is plus the being, in the same way as I means the individual plus the being, and the world means the variety plus being. The being is in all case real, the all, the variety, and the individual is in each case unreal. So also in the union of the real and the unreal, the mixing up or the false identification is wrong. It amounts to saying Sad Asadavi Lakshana, that is transcending the real and the unreal, Sat and Asat. Reality is that which transcends all concepts, including that of God. Inasmuch as the name of God is used, it cannot be true. The Hebrew word Jehovah, I am, expresses God correctly. Absolute being is beyond expression. The word cannot be replaced, nor need it be replaced. The Englishman casually said that in prehistoric ages there was spirituality but not high intellect, whereas intellect has now developed. Sri Bhagwan pointed out that intellect raises the question whose intellect? The answer is of the self. So, intellect is a tool of the self. The self uses intellect for measuring variety. Intellect is not the self, nor apart from the self. The self alone is eternal. Intellect is only a phenomena. People speak of the development of variety as being the development of intellect. Intellect was always there. The Creator created just as before. Consider your own state day by day. There is no intellect in dreamless, deep sleep, but it is there now. There is no intellect in a child, it develops with age. How could there be manifestation of intellect without its seed in the sleep state and in the child? Why go to history to teach this fundamental fact? The level of truth of history is only the level of truth of the individual.